It's 2020 and y'all still waiting on a man, a non-existent boo, your girls, family to go out there and explore this world. Really? And I know some of y'all's girls trips are struggles, okay? Instagram is not fooling nobody. Y'all be 20 deep in one hotel room. And I'm not trying to talk mess about nobody or whatever y'all got going on, but let's be real with ourselves. Let's be honest. Let's be honest. You people aren't really enjoying these trips. They're not all that fun for you. Some of y'all go on these trips and lose friendships, break up with your man. Listen, in this 2020, I want us to enjoy ourselves abroad. I want us to explore. I want us to learn. I'm not saying all vacations and all girls trips are horrible, but I want us to take control over the experiences we have abroad. Please. Ooh, it's something about the way she moves. Now, the number one fear that I feel like a lot of people have is just the fear of being alone. Being in a different country that you have no connection to, just there by yourself. Trust me, when I was in Asia, I had moments where I was like, what is my black butt doing in this country by myself? Literally the only black person I can see. Here's a tip to help you get over that fear. The first step to conquering that fear of loneliness is getting used to it, getting comfortable with it. I've done this practice for years, and now being alone and being to myself is like my comfort zone. Granted, I am naturally an introvert. I don't really like people too much, not to be that person, but honestly, I'm so good on my own, or so good with like one or two people that I'm close to, and I'm chilling. For people who might be extroverted or don't have the same personality that I do, some tips to help you is to start dating yourself. Go out for dinner by yourself. Go out for dates. Take yourself to a concert. Take yourself to a club by yourself. I've done all those things by myself in different countries, and I always have a great time. And if you feel weird about being there by yourself, journal. Feel like you're talking to yourself through a journal, or you're talking to someone through your journal. Just get comfortable with just getting out of your house and going places by yourself and having new experiences by yourself. Start locally. My next tip is to start traveling nearby. So take a weekend trip to a city near you, or take a week trip to another state in your country. Whatever the case may be, start giving yourself exposure and giving yourself the experience of going to an unknown land that's unfamiliar. And the benefit of going to like another state or to another city is that you still kind of feel safe, because you know you're a few hours away from home, or it won't take much for you to be able to get back home. So start small. If that's what it takes for you to build your confidence, do it. That might be what helps you overcome the fear altogether. My third tip is to connect with other women who solo travel. This one is huge. If you are not part of Girls Love Travel on Facebook, it's a Facebook group, and I will leave the link down in the description box. Join, like right now, like as soon as you're done with this video. Go ahead and log onto your Facebook that you haven't been on in years and join this group and get on there, even if it's just for this group, because it's that important. Now, the reason why this group is so important, I personally use it to just connect with other women who have been to places that I'm interested in going to. So for example, I'm currently in the process of moving abroad. I've been on there a lot, just putting in the city that I'm moving into and just getting as much information as I can. It's also helpful because I can connect with other women who've been there or who've lived there and ask them about their experiences, or ask them about any specific questions I might have in regards to safety, rent, whatever the case may be, excursions. That's a really great resource for you to utilize, and I definitely recommend utilizing it. There are also so many other Facebook groups. There's Girls Gone International. You can join various expat groups for expats, whatever the case may be, because those sometimes have gems because you're with people who are foreigners who've lived there for a minute and can get you the the inside scoop on things to know about traveling there. There are also groups for people of color who travel abroad if you want to get a take from that perspective too. So definitely get involved in Facebook groups. That's going to help you feel like, look, there's been so many people who have come before me who've already done this and who are doing this right now. I can too. My fourth tip is to get comfortable talking to strangers. Like I said, I'm an introvert. I'm not typically the kind of person that strikes up conversations with people I don't know. But when I travel, I kind of have to, especially if I don't know the directions to somewhere, or I need advice on something. I really have to force myself out of my comfort zone. Now, if you're scared of having to do that, start now to start breaking that fear. For example, I used to waitress at Hooters. That alone is just an environment of its own. You meet so many different types of people. And at least I had the motivation of a tip to get me to be all bubbly and personable and, try to connect with people. But I'm not saying just go get a waitress job to do that, but try figuring out different areas in your life where you can implement those skills. Even if it's going to the grocery store or going to a restaurant and striking up a conversation with your waiter. Do whatever you have to do to get comfortable just talking to people you don't know. And I think it's a very useful skill to have, even in your professional life or wherever you choose to take it and wherever your life may take you. Definitely start now to start getting over that fear and start working on it so you can have successful solo trips. My next tip is to start traveling to similar countries. So just to give you guys a background, I was born and raised in Houston, Texas. So this has always been the norm for me, always been what I've known. If I were to have started traveling solo right now, my first trip would not be China. It would not be Guilin, China. It wouldn't be somewhere where the society isn't extremely diverse or accustomed to a lot of tourism right now, okay? I would go to a place that's very similar in terms of culture to my own country if I was trying to step out of my comfort zone. So for some tangible examples, if I were to start solo traveling now, maybe my first trip would be to like Canada or a country in Western Europe, like France, Paris, or whatever the case may be. Start off going to places that are very similar to what you're already comfortable with, because that's going to help you get adjusted a lot more easily to traveling solo and venturing into more exotic and adventurous places. So definitely start that way. My next tip is to plan for the worst, okay? Plan for the worst. Maybe that will help you decrease your fears and decrease your anxiety about going abroad by yourself. Plan for the worst. What if I lose my passport? What am I gonna do? Do the research you need to do to be able to figure out, okay, what steps do I take next? How do I contact my embassy in that country? Or, what different steps do I take to be able to resolve those different issues? All right. This next tip is going to speak on something that just really grinds my gears. Sometimes I almost don't like telling my family or people, well, it's definitely important to tell people in your family where you're going. But sometimes I almost don't even like to do that because, like for example, my dad is extremely overprotective. So I could tell him, Daddy, I'm going to Canada, and he'll find some news article about what's going on in Canada and how dangerous and all that it might be. And I just don't like fear-mongering. I personally choose to not live a life crippled by fear. That doesn't mean I'm not going to be wise and take the necessary precautions, but I just don't like fear. So if one of your reasons for not solo traveling is because, okay, well, what if, I get stabbed in Brazil, or I get pickpocketed in Barcelona, or whatever the case may be, realize and understand that pretty crappy things happen anywhere. You don't have to only be in Brazil to get stabbed. People get stabbed every day in the United States. And, just adding an added layer to this conversation, just being a Black woman or a Black person existing in America, that alone is a risk. That alone comes with its dangers. Statistically, actually more than a lot of other countries abroad anyway, so you might actually be a bit safer abroad, but that's a conversation for another day. So just realize that bad things and horrible things can happen to you anywhere. That risk is existent everywhere. But that should not be a reason as to why you choose to just stay in your comfort zone and stay in your hometown because you want to avoid it altogether. You can definitely take steps to reduce and mitigate the risks you might incur abroad, but definitely don't allow the existence of risks to cause you to not travel altogether. My next tip is to engage in positive self-talk, okay? Speak to yourself positively throughout the process of planning a solo trip and deciding to do it. Don't think, oh my goodness, this is the dumbest thing I've ever done. It's so crazy. I actually talk to myself like that because it kind of hypes me up, because just the craziness of it kind of does a little something to me. I'm a risk taker. I love it. I love it so much. But I mean, I guess for like a normal person, talk to yourself positively. Instead of saying, oh, this is such a stupid decision, say, hey, this is a very adventurous task for you to take on, and I'm proud of you for even having the courage to pursue this. You can do it. Just constantly talk to yourself and affirm yourself and know that you are capable of doing this. My next tip is to visualize yourself having an amazing time. I love dreaming about the places I'm going to and the places I plan to go to. And for some inspiration, I'll go on YouTube and search for like travel vlogs and, you know, read about people's different experiences there and visualize myself walking the streets of Madrid or swimming in the waters of the Maldives. Do that, because when you start to visualize and you manifest an amazing trip, you increase the likelihood of it happening and of you believing that you're capable of having an amazing trip. That's one way of conquering your fear and not allowing yourself to succumb to the fear of going abroad. My last tip is to trust yourself. Trust and believe that you are capable. You have the abilities, you have the skills to be able to go abroad and travel alone and have an amazing time. You are capable of surviving, and realize that you will never know just how independent and just how capable you are until you give yourself an opportunity to prove it to yourself. And that's what solo travel has done for me. It's increased my confidence like crazy. Baby, after my trip to East Asia, where I went to China, South Korea, and Japan by myself for 2.5 weeks for my 22nd birthday, you actually can't tell me nothing. Like, you cannot tell me that I'm not capable of doing anything I put my mind to. Like, literally, I don't want to hear it. In one ear, out, it doesn't even get in. You know, that's the kind of confidence that solo travel will give you. So remind yourself that you are capable of doing it. Yes, it seems hard, but think about the kind of satisfaction you'll have on that plane ride back to your hometown, knowing that you've done the unimaginable at one point. So definitely keep that in mind. Those are all my tips as to how you can conquer your fear of solo traveling. Please meditate on this if you need to. Journal it out. Have a conversation with yourself. Do what you got to do to really make sure that these tips have really seeped into your heart and into your mind, and that you truly believe in your ability to go on a solo trip and travel by yourself. Just to give you a bit more insight, I am a 5'3" petite black woman, and I've been to China, South Korea, Japan, Taiwan, the Maldives, Cambodia, Malaysia, Bali, Guatemala, Mexico. So many different places, a plethora of international cities. A lot of them, most of those countries I've been to by myself, okay? And I'm only 22. I started traveling at 19. If I can do this, you literally can do it too. There is literally nothing that is stopping you. There's literally nothing that can stop you besides yourself. Don't be your biggest obstacle. Don't be your only obstacle. So I really do hope that these tips were very helpful for you guys, and that they will help you overcome your fear of solo traveling. Post Miss Rona, please, no more excuses. No more waiting for a man. No more waiting for friends. No more waiting for family. If this is something you want to do, go ahead and do it. Life is too short to just be waiting on other people to do the things you want to do. Just go ahead and do it. I'll see you guys soon, and y'all stay blessed. Oh, actually, haha, just kidding. Y'all go ahead and like, subscribe, and share this video with whomever you believe would benefit from it. And please leave comments down below. Let me know what would your first solo trip be post this Rona madness. I'll see you guys soon. Bye.
Ooh, it's something about, just something about the way